I love wrestling. You love wrestling. We love wrestling.
You're not here, you missing out. Is this show?
Welcome to Women on Wednesdays. I'm with Maddy from Top Row Squishy, and today we have someone who's ice cold. We have someone who I enjoy watching. If you haven't been seeing her around, you can catch her on NWA. You can catch her down in Texas. You can catch her in Florida. You can catch her on IWTV Fight TV. We have one of the hottest independent ladies on the scene. We have Lady Frost. How are you doing today, man?
I'm good. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for coming on. So before we get started, the first question I always ask is, why do you love wrestling, or what started your love for wrestling?
My grandfather was a studio wrestler, so I was introduced early. But to be honest, I love wrestling because of my husband. It was the first live show that I've ever attended. Then I started managing, and I really got the full experience of being sort of a fan. I was really, really close, but the fans were close, the wrestlers were close. I was in that in-between barrier, you would say, feeling all the emotion, seeing all of the action. And I don't know, I fell in love with the emotion and the physicality of it.
Said your husband got you into it. But if you don't know, people, her and her husband have, let's say, two of the best Twitter accounts that are out there. I love their back and forth. The real savage gentlemen. Well, I have to talk about it. So I was watching Beyond Wrestling.
Yeah.
Your hand's broken right now. You're right.
My hand is broken right now. I didn't really make a huge announcement, but yeah, I broke it during the NWA tapings, actually.
Oh no!
Wow, the NWA. Let's go to the NWA tape. How are those tapings going for you?
Well, I've been wrestling a match and a half with a broken hand. I loved it there, man. It was a great vibe, great energy. The locker room was cool. I really, really enjoyed myself. I will say that.
Oh, okay. Well, it was good to see you on NWA. I'll say I was shocked because I had just saw you at Battle Club Pro, and I watched NWA weekly. And then I was looking. I said, "Well, look at this. Lady Frost is on NWA. Like, you're a perfect pick for the show, if you ask me, with everything that they're doing." But you've been making a lot of debuts also. I'm gonna talk about this before we go to Maddy. So I didn't realize. I thought my first time seeing you was at Battle Club Pro,
Okay.
but you are a champion in Hurricane Pro.
Yeah.
And you beat Heather Monroe. So ladies' night out at WrestleMania, a part of the GCW Run This Town block that they had going. I actually recorded that match, and I didn't realize till maybe a week ago. I was like, wait a minute, I have seen her before. But I was there for like 12 hours. So
I was gonna say, either I wasn't that memorable, or you were doing the same thing. The match was literally at like 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning, and I'm sure you had watched so much wrestling. We were like wrestling zombies. I feel like that weekend was just like on overload.
I know one show had went over, and then when Ladies' Night Out started, it was supposed to start at midnight, but it started later than it was supposed to start. And I just remember I was like, I'm here, but I don't know what's going on. But going back to watch the match, it was very good. And the very next week or maybe 2 weeks later, you won the championship from her. So I was excited to see that.
Yeah, it was. We asked for the rematch. Everyone seemed to be really responsive to our match together, and the promoter was cool. We just figured out, like, he asked if I could come in a few weeks. I was open, and that really like started the resurgence of wrestling and my wrestling and getting out there, because prior to WrestleMania week, it was like a drought. It was rough. We just moved back to Pittsburgh, and you question like how much you sacrificed for wrestling and how much more you can sacrifice. Like, how much more can I give?
Yeah.
So it was cool that it all kind of happened, because I think I was feeling rather empty from all that we had done for professional wrestling, or not for wrestling. Like, you know, it doesn't owe us anything. You always hear that, but it was cool to kind of see that uptick happen.
Go ahead, Maddy.
Hey, Lady Frost, thanks for joining us.
Hi, absolutely.
So relatively speaking, the pandemic is coming to an end, right? But there were a lot of wrestlers that were challenged in different ways during the pandemic. So how did the pandemic challenge you? Or was it like a super positive? Because there were a lot of wrestlers, especially indie wrestlers, where the pandemic actually was a good thing for them, worked in their favor.
So I kind of think that the pandemic did work in our favor as wrestlers, just because we sort of got away from Lady Frost and the Savage Gentleman, in the sense that we were working with Shakara. We turned into different characters there. We got a lot of really, really, really great work with Mike Quackenbush, who was the coach there. And he challenged us, right, to get out of our comfort zone. And then on Twitter, we were just us. I think, like, it wasn't about wrestling. Like, it was food, it was fitness, it was dogs, it was real life outside of what we were doing in a wrestling ring. So I think people just kind of like gravitated to us being real. And, you know, you hear like kayfabe. Well, like, hey, in real life, we're really not like that pretentious and, you know, stuck up, and there was no reason to keep being that way, right? So we just lived, and it was like not about wrestling. It was survival at that point. You're like, man, it's hard for everyone. So we kind of just try to be positive and cool and be us. And, you know, Victor started posting pictures of peanut butter on his eggs. And I was like,
Oh my God. Yeah, it seems like that's the norm nowadays. You know, like you have your wrestling characters, but on social media, you're allowed to be, you know, a little more human, so to speak, which I think is another like thing that happened during the pandemic, which is cool. I think as a fan, we enjoy that side of the wrestlers too, you know, not just kayfabe all the time. So did the pandemic help like work-life balance? Because there were some people who said they had more time now for like their personal stuff. Was it true for you?
So we were in a city that we didn't have family or friends that we had known forever. So it was really, really challenging in that regard. We were trying to balance. We didn't have a real life there. We had just moved there. We were in Maryland with the Ring of Honor dojo prior, and then just moved to Philly, you know, a few months, like right as the shutdown happened. So we weren't there for long. It was really a struggle, I think. Wrestling was harder than real life. Maybe real life was harder than wrestling. I don't really know. It was all pretty challenging. But at least we still got work during the pandemic. Like at least the initial shutdown, we were filming wrestling without an audience before anyone was. Like Shakara was the first. We did Action Arcade. We were One-Eyed Jack and Red Queen. And it was nice to try to sink our teeth into something different, but you know, there's no audience, no one there, so we're the first ones to kind of start doing that and keep wrestling like fresh for us. But once we moved back to Pittsburgh, it was a lot easier because we have a built-in community here of friends and family, our gym, stuff like that. So I think it made us realize how important real life really is. Like, you still have to have happiness outside of wrestling. You have to be fulfilled in other ways, because wrestling isn't everything. It can't give you your source of happiness in all things life, right? Like, you have to have a balance. So we worked on what mattered to us, what we really wanted to see in life. And, you know, if wrestling wasn't going to work out for us, like, we have to be okay. We have to figure out some sort of happiness if we aren't professional wrestlers. But we still weren't going to take no for an answer. So
agreed. Did you guys have like a backup plan?
Here, no. But so we have a lot of areas of expertise. Like, I'm a certified cosmetologist. I'm a fitness instructor, personal trainer. So we had things to fall back on, per se. My husband as well. mixed martial arts, self-defense, taught all of those things, did tattoos on the side. He had a career that he was vested in his pension and everything before we left, but didn't want to go back to that. So we had options. We just didn't have a plan. It was just like, all right, well, we're forced to move. The world shut down. Nothing is normal. Let's just figure out. Sorry. I'm
no
back.
worries.
Nothing was normal. It was just kind of like, we'll figure it out. That's what we do. We always just figure it out.
And it would have worked out eventually. I mean, that's a lot of background. You definitely would have found something to do, but I'm glad that you guys were able to continue wrestling. Yeah, so you've been in the ring with quite a few people: Heather Monroe, Red Velvet, Tasha Steeles, Tracy Taylor. Is there anybody that you haven't been in the ring with yet that you want to go up against that you haven't had a chance to?
So this question's always interesting, like dream match or who do you want to wrestle? And I always answer with like, you never know who's going to bring the magic out of you or the fight out of you, right? It's probably always someone that you don't suspect. I love intergender wrestling. I love tag team wrestling. So there are just like endless possibilities. Some of my favorite matches are ones that like I wouldn't have expected. I know pre-pandemic, I had a match scheduled with Chris Statlander, and she's, always someone that I thought was just freaking awesome, like power, agility, all those things, character. So I think storytelling wise and with two athletes like that, I feel like we could have had a really great match.
AAW, make it happen.
Yeah.
Yes, make it happen.
Yeah. So otherwise, I think tag team wrestling is like uber fun for us because I just get like tossed around. Yeah. But
so how did you come up with the name Lady Frost? You've probably been asked this a million times.
I have. So it's okay. I feel like I guess people still don't know, and that's okay. That's fine too. I debuted on Monday Night Raw for WWE, and they just gave me the name Jamie Frost. And I don't know where it came from. I wasn't crazy about the name. I wasn't even a wrestler yet, but I had just come up with a name that was important to me. And I was like, oh no, I don't want to be Jamie Frost. I cut a live promo that I guess made me trend on Twitter. I didn't even know how to work Twitter, but so I was like, I guess I'm kind of stuck with this. Like, I'm going to keep it and see what happens. I just dropped the Jamie, and we were doing like the lady and the gentleman gimmick anyway.
Right.
So I thought maybe I would take on a first name, but I think the characters really lended themselves to Lady Frost. That was it. I liked it. It stuck. I've since evolved kind of the character and what it means to me because I was given that name, but it's not so much like Elsa Disney Princess Ice Queen gimmick. It's just like for me now, like I'm cool, I'm chill, I'm cold,
yes.
cold-hearted, things like that. Sort of like character traits versus like I'm Killer Frost from Mortal Kombat. Like that's not what it is. So
that's awesome. So you said anybody in the ring, you don't know, anyone that you go up against could potentially be a challenge. So from the matches that you have had, whether it was intergender or a tag match or singles, which one would you say would be your toughest match or most challenging or one that brought out the most out of you to date, if you can recall?
So I think as a tag team, we wrestled Bear Country in the rain, in the heat at, it was for Beyond in Atlantic City on the boardwalk. And that was a challenge because, they're two bears.
Yes.
And it was
yes.
raining and it was hot, but it was fun. It pushed us to get innovative and come up with some crazy offense. But I had a singles match. I talk about it all the time with Riley Shepard in New Jersey. And it was a no holds barred. It was a crazy outdoor, like we're just going to ball out essentially. Like we went crazy with weapons. And there was an ice bucket over her head, and she got a snowball fight, like the flipping cannonball onto a chair on the outside. So that match, it challenged me, but it made me like push outside the comfort zone of like, hey, we're gonna do X, Y, Z. This is what I want to accomplish. Like that, we just went in and we're like beating the shit out of each other. Like really, that's it. Like that was the MO. So those are always good matches, I think, to have where you're just willing to fight.
Yeah, those matches seem like they could bring the best out of you, the craziest out of you.
Yeah.
So I just have one more question before I move it back to Trey. So you've done a lot in the years that you've been wrestling. Where do you potentially see yourself 5 years from now, or where do you want to be 5 years from now?
So I dislike this question because I don't think we really. Oh, hi, bud. I don't have a preference. It's about who wants me and who will protect the integrity of the character, the image, my wallet, things that.
Good answer.
Yeah, it's what at this point, like, it's not conceded. It's what they have to offer me as well. I just don't want to say, hey, I signed a contract with so and so because of their name. That's not what it is. I want to make an impression. I don't want to be known for because I'm a company's wrestler. No, I want to be Lady Frost, and that's what you know me for. You know me as the wrestler, not so-and-so's wrestler, so-and-so's wrestler. Nope, I'm just a me, and I want to leave an impression for my wrestling and my character, my promo work, whatever it may be. So I don't know where I want to be. I don't. I know where I've enjoyed. I know where I haven't enjoyed. I've run the bases of every company right now in under 3 years. I just hit my 3-year anniversary, but I think it has to be just a good fit. That's what's important, being a good fit.
I love that answer. Thank you.
Thanks.
Awesome. Back to you, Terry.
Oh, got to ask. Jamie Frost, Lady Frost. Before you got on, when you was talking, so I'm going to ask you who you prefer, because we just want to know if you have an option. Iceman, Emma Frost, or Dr. Freeze?
Oh my. I don't even know them well enough, but I'll just have to go with Dr. Freeze.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Well, that works. If you don't know him well enough, your character could be looked at as a version of Emma Freeze from the X-Men.
Right.
If you look into it.
So here's what's wild. People always used to say Elsa. That was like, I was green and I was throwing snowballs, and like it was very character heavy. But like, I've never seen Frozen. Still, have not watched Frozen. I refuse. I don't have kids. I have no reason to. like as a gag, I would sing "Let It Go" sometimes. Like, but that has since passed. We're over that phase. I'm glad that people don't identify me as that character anymore. But.
I've never seen Frozen myself. All I know is
I've seen it, and I don't have kids.
What's that song, Let It Go or something? That's the only thing I know from it. Let's move from that, though.
Yeah.
Now, I'm sorry. That just took me out for a second. All right. So, I got to ask. I've been seeing you debut at a lot of places. It's like you've been here 3 years, but you're making your way to new areas. It's like it's always a heat wave in Texas, but you've been going through a lot of promotions, and they say the cold front's been coming through, and been impressing a lot of people down there in the Texas area. Do you like wrestling in Texas?
I mean, other than the heat, if they give me a nice air-conditioned building, it's fine. So Texas has been good to me and us. You may or may not see both of us popping up more often in Texas. But yeah, I had a good response. I think it was shocking to me being from the north and usually working like northeast kind of territories. When I made my way down south, people knew who I was, it's really cool, right? Like you have a bigger reach than sometimes. And I just only knew people from Twitter, and they would show up and be like, hey, I know you from Twitter. We talked. And like, social media is that weird world where like it's not real, people say, but at the same time, like, you know, you're talking to a stranger and then all of a sudden you're meeting that stranger. So it is very real. I think it's important to connect with your audience, your friends, your fans, because you never know when you're going to meet them or how they can help you. I know we have a lot of sponsors now, and I know that's how we connected. It's important to know that people support you and that the wrestlers appreciate that back. Like that's the biggest deal, that connection with your audience. So I just want to make sure that I'm doing everyone proud and they know like I'm a real human. I'm going to interact with you on Twitter, and when you see me as a wrestler, I'll probably be really mean to you because I'm a bad guy.
I like it.
I love it. I love it. Talked about Texas, so got some greatness coming up here to the Midwest, though. You know, a little thing I've been doing since they had it, the first one back in 2013 or 14, I believe. Warrior Wrestling. You'll be going against someone who just returned. You're actually both, you're both in NWA, so this may happen on the big stage also, but you'll be facing Smiley Kylie Ray for the Warrior Wrestling Women's Championship on the 17th.
I sure am. That is less than 2 weeks. That'll be my first match back.
Is the hand gonna be okay?
You know, it's wrestling, so it's gonna be my first match back. It's a big promotion, and Kylie is fantastic. I know she has a very large fan base, and she's insanely talented. Warrior is a huge promotion that brings in only the best talent. They have stacked cards every show. It's insane. You see the flyers and you're like, how is this possible? But I'm looking forward to it. Victor Benjamin has a tag team match. I'm sad that I'm not going to be in it. I will probably be ringside, but they have a match against the Varsity Blondes from AEW. And what are you laughing at over there?
That's one of Maddy's favorite tag teams.
Oh,
no. No, it's not.
No, all right, I got it.
I'm not a big fan of the Varsity Blonde.
That's all right. That's okay. That means that you can vote for or root for Pretty Marketable. I think they're going to be going by. So,
Pretty Marketable. Oh, okay.
Most marketable, Richard Holiday from MLW, and Pretty Proper is Savage Gentleman Victor Benjamin. So Pretty Marketable. We'll see how they do. I don't know, because Richard Holiday just jumped Victor Benjamin with 3 other guys on Beyond this Thursday. So, yeah, he got some fences to mend.
Is Victor okay?
He's had a stiff neck. I don't think it's anything serious. We also have a massage and chiropractor appointment this week, so I think he will be good to go.
Okay.
I'm sorry my dogs are taking over this interview right now.
They're so cute.
It's all good. I was watching that Beyond, and you poor, you know who you are. Disgusting what you did to Victor after that match. I don't know why he deserved that, and you even pushed Lady Frost. Y'all just ran roughshod that whole night, but let me get.
They did. I think they needed someone else to make an example of, apparently, and that means they pose a threat, right? If you're going to jump someone and it takes 4 of you, that means you're proving a point with someone that clearly is a threat to you. So, I don't know. I hope we get redemption. That's it, like revenge. So we'll see what happens with Beyond. We had a couple of words, and clearly I was incapable of fighting back with a broken hand, which made it even worse for me. I thought I was just going to go out and be ringside and be safe. So they put me in danger as well. But we'll see what happens.
Beyond, I'm going to clip this for y'all and send it to your inbox because y'all talk to me. Put Trish, because they attacked her. Put Willow. Put Lady Frost and the real Savage Gentleman all on one side. Put the other 4 on the other side and let them go at it.
That's the best idea. Drew, if you get to see this, Trish, Willow, myself, and Savage Gent, that's a hell of a faction right there in itself. I mean, even if it's for one night for redemption.
Whew.
Yeah, right?
Revenge.
Chills?
Before we go into our last spot and end this out, Miss Frost, just to leave the wrestling for a second, I gotta ask you. You know, your tagline on Twitter, Ice Cold Lady Frost.
Mm-hmm.
What are some of your favorite cold foods?
Cold foods, cold coffee. I love cold coffee.
Yeah.
Like iced coffee or actually cold coffee?
No, iced coffee.
Okay.
It has to be really good ice cream, but I can do ice cream. And what else? I mean, I like a lot of my foods cold. I feel like when you meal prep for road trips, like you can't even heat it up, so I'm just used to eating everything cold at this point.
Yum.
Do you like peanut butter?
I like peanut butter. I'm not obsessed. My whole world doesn't revolve around peanut butter. I probably wouldn't be married to my husband if I didn't like peanut butter.
Oh, he likes peanut butter.
I'm just saying, like some of the things I see him make, I ask myself, I'm like, is Lady Frost eating these things also with him?
The answer is no. If you have to question it, it's a no.
Hey, Victor, I don't know what you're doing with your peanut butter. Do your thing, though. It's not me, but do your thing.
You want to come in here and explain yourself? He's in the kitchen probably eating something with peanut butter right now.
I said good day, sir.
Hi, Victor.
Hello.
Good day.
She clearly smells the peanut butter on my beard.
Yeah, right. The man even has peanut butter beard oil. Like, what?
Wait, you have peanut
Yes.
butter beard oil?
Of course.
Yeah, it's.
You don't?
I've never heard of it. I didn't know that was a thing.
It is now.
He has his own partnership and brand with Savage Gentleman Beard Balm and Oil, and it is peanut butter scented.
You're smelling peanut butter all day.
I'm like, please
Hold on,
pick something
hold on.
different.
Mythical Beards, the people that we're partnered with, also made one for her, though, too.
They did. I have a Lady Frost scent. I don't even have a beard, but there's a Lady Frost scent. It's like real fresh and clean, like fresh fallen snow.
See, so don't let her try to pull one over on you guys. It's a partnership through and through, all the way 100% here.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, this is my interview. Get out of here.
Oh, okay.
We'll come talk to you at a later date.
Goodbye.
Thank you. That was great.
Peanut butter beard oil. I don't know how
Wow.
I feel about that at all. Maddy, before I have her do our last spot, do you have any other questions or anything else you would like to say?
Just thank you for your time and good luck in 2 weeks. I'm sure you'll be fine.
Thank
Your
you
hand will
so
be
much.
healed.
Appreciate it.
So, Miss Frost, we are at our last spot here. We call this our Put Yourself Over moment. This is where you let us know your social media, any ways that anybody watching can support you, any things that you have coming up. We just would like for you to put yourself over.
She's gonna help. Say hi, baby. I am Real Lady Frost on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. I have a big cartel at Lady Frost. I have a pro wrestling tees store at Lady Frost. You can find me on Fight TV, Title Match Network, IWTV. Pretty much if you put Lady Frost in, you're gonna find me now.
All right. Guys, just in the links in the bottom, we'll put up, her pro wrestling tee stores and the other links also. We'll have the links for her pages. So you can go follow, get used to what she tweets. It's an interesting Twitter. I mean, I like the account. It's a must follow. But before we go, I'd like to thank Lady Frost for giving us this time today. When we have people on, you see things that happen. That one company, you know who I'm talking about, have her come down, challenge for the championship. All right. Maddy,
Yeah.
thank you for giving us the time and joining us here today.
Thank you.
And I'm Terry, your tradie, and like I always say, if I love wrestling and you love wrestling, then we love wrestling. It's too sweet.